What does it mean to work as a woman in tech? Is it any different than working in any other industry? Today I'm asking several amazing women who achieved so much in the tech industry, and they will be sharing their experience today. This teaser launches a series of episodes about amazing women in tech. So if you would like to watch full interviews of these smart and amazing women, stay tuned and click that notification bell if you still haven't, because on Sundays from now on we'll be having several interviews that you will be having an opportunity to watch in full. So with that being said, let's continue. And the first question I asked was...
Hi, my name is Juliana and I'm a software engineer based in Lviv, Ukraine. As a kid, I was interested in programming because my dad is a software engineer and I thought it was really cool. But I ended up studying linguistics, like Japanese language to be particular, later in the university. And after I graduated, I became a Japanese-speaking software support engineer. And it was my first step into the IT world. And later on, I had a chance to switch completely to programming. And I took the chance, and now I'm a full-time front-end developer.
This is Sherry Bevan from The Confident Mother, and to answer the question why IT and what made me end up in this industry, quite honestly, it was a bit by chance. I have been working in technology for a long time now. I started off in a publishing company, and then when I was looking for my second job after the publisher, I saw a job advertised for one of the big four accountancy firms. They had several roles going. I applied and was lucky enough to get one of the roles, and they put me into the European IT Support Centre, which at the time was supporting Wang VS machines, and my role was to kind of coordinate activities, and they were willing to train me up. They could sense that I was bright and smart. So I trained to be a trainer. I learned how to administer the Wang VS systems. I taught other administrators all over Europe how to do this too. So that's how I ended up in technology.
So why IT? Well, it's really a coincidence that I got into IT. In my previous position, I was working also as an analyst, but it was more in the HR function. So I was working on different assessments of candidates who are trying to get a job. It did involve a little bit of IT because I had computer-based testing and developing of different softwares, but I was also involved, but not in IT department. And what has happened is the division I was working for was shutting down, so everybody was being laid off, and I started looking for a new job. And this one came along, and I applied for it, and I got it. So that's really how I got into IT. Now, I will tell you I was a little bit hesitant because I don't have that IT background. I feel like I was a little bit afraid that because I don't have the IT background, although it was not required for the job, I somehow was kind of questioning myself if I'm gonna be liking the job or if I'm gonna be successful at it. Now, turns out it was all worrying for nothing because I love my job and I have been there for the past 6 years. But it was really a coincidence that I ended up in IT.
So my name is Katie Gutierrez. I'm a UX designer at Storytime UX, located in San Jose. So I grew up in San Jose for the most part. I've moved around and now I'm back here. And when I was in high school, I studied graphic design and animation. And I was told that graphic design wouldn't be the best, career. I was told that graphic designers are a dime a dozen, which means they're easy to get a hold of and the competition is gonna be steep. So I considered myself artistic and a visual designer, but game design was not something that was offered in high school or college for me. So finally, when I was in my master's degree, I went into interactive design and game development, and I got my degree online. So all of my educational and creative pursuits have been digital.
Hi, my name is Joyce, and I am a technical communicator, soon to be information architect. I'm the current president for the Society for Technical Communication, to Untitled Chapter. Thanks for having me. I've always had a fascination with how people interact with emerging technologies, and my curiosity is really just a starting point. But for as long as I remember, I've always been told, one way or another, that due to the fact that I'm female, I should be aiming for very specific lines of work. For example, my own family can't talk to me about what I do without assuming that I'm not good enough to do what I do. But you see, I'm pretty darn stubborn. If someone implies that I can't do something because I was born female and or a person of color, I'm gonna do it.
So when I was a junior in high school, I took my first computer class, which involved basic HTML and CSS. And I absolutely loved it. At that time, I had no idea that I could major in IT. And so my advisor never said that there were any type of courses or classes around IT and computers. So I ended up choosing chemistry. And when I got to college and I started doing chemistry, I noticed that there were other classes that I could take. So when I chose my electives, I saw a lot of IT classes. So I decided to sign up for one, and I loved it. I loved everything about it. So I decided to do an IT minor. By my senior year, I took physical chemistry, which involved a lot of computing and coding to get our answers for our experiments. So that got me more involved with coding, and at the end of my senior year, I decided I don't want to be a chemist anymore. I want to go into IT. And so that's where I decided to go for my master's in business analytics and intelligence. And that is how I ended up there.
Now I'm working as a chief marketing officer for startups, primarily startups with artificial intelligence. My main focus is making marketing for startups who are concentrating their efforts on a solution and solving the solution. I just realized while working with other marketing stuff like public relations, like partnership cooperations and other things, neurobranding was one of the insights that helped me a lot in marketing and also in partnership cooperations. I like making such an advertisement that could help people to solve their problem, not just like spending money on Facebook, Google, or other ads platform. I like making that kind of marketing that goes deeply in the heart of the customers and helps them to benefit from the product they use.
I became a software engineer mostly because I saw my dad doing this and I thought it was very interesting. But in fact, I really enjoyed like website design in high school, and I thought that I might become a designer later on. But now when I have this opportunity to do the both things, I really am more interested in engineering itself. I enjoy writing code, I enjoy learning new things about the framework I'm working with, about other programming languages, and I think that this is what I want to do for a while. But if there's an opportunity to do something else, I think I might switch to something else for a while. Like, I really enjoy photography, and who knows, maybe I'll be a photographer for a while later on in life. But for now, I'm really happy at where I am, and I don't think that it will change for a while.
I'm good with people. I've got very good people skills. I'm smart person, so I can understand the technology, but what's really important is I can empathise when people are going through big change problems. I understand their worries and their concerns, and I can take that technology language, the technical jargon, and make it easy to understand, to take away some of the fear. Could I change direction in the future? I don't think so. My next role is going to be purely learning and development and a bit less technology focused. I'll be on that contract for about 8 months. I don't want to change direction in the future. I love the work that I do. I love working with the technology, and I love working with the people that I do. And so for me, there's not a possibility of changing in the future because I don't want to. But yes, I could change direction, but I don't really want to go back to doing coding or anything really technical, because I've done all of that in the past, and right now I'm doing the work that I love best.
What I studied in college was biology. When I did my master's, I did that in healthcare administration. So when I ended up working as an analyst, it was not really what I was studying for. However, I will tell you that's pretty common here in US, that you go to college for one thing and work in a completely different field. Now, the beauty about being an analyst is the fact that you can work in any industry. It doesn't have to be IT. Your skills are very easily transferable to other industries. So that's why I was able to move from that HR function to IT. But it does have a healthcare component because I do work in the IT department for a healthcare organization. And I will also tell you, being an analyst is really exposing you to so many different things that if you are not sure what career path to take, where you really want to concentrate, being an analyst is an awesome thing to do. Because even now when I work in IT department, I am exposed to all kinds of different people and experiences. So if there's anybody who is really debating, what to do, they are considering IT, but they are not sure exactly kind of what profession in IT, being an analyst can really expose you to all of those things. You can meet different experts, ask them questions, and see what you really like before you commit yourself to a specific profession within IT. Now, would I ever change the direction? I don't know. I never say no, because like I said, being an analyst, you can really move around. So if there is anything that might come my way that is not necessarily IT related, I am open to that. I'm definitely not saying no.
So I considered myself artistic, and I guess that meant that I didn't think I was going to be coding. I definitely wish I had learned how to code, and I did take a class in SQL, but that wasn't the type of code that really applies to game design a lot of the time. It can in much bigger companies as well. But for interactive gameplay programming, I wish I would have learned C# or JavaScript. And so, I took a coding class. I took SQL when I was in high school. It felt kind of like it was going to be a lonely road, because I was, the only woman and one of the only people of color in the class. And it actually felt kind of strange being in that class, whereas usually I'm in classes where I feel like I understand the culture or I belong in it. So feeling like you don't belong can be really hard. And I also wasn't really sure, how is this SQL programming going to apply to my future career? I honestly didn't know. So I didn't really pursue it. But there was also, nowadays, kids programming centers around games. And it just looks like so much fun. I wish I had done that when I was a kid. I think I could certainly pivot at this point, but I am focused on UX design now. So, starting over feels like I could do it. I'm not saying I couldn't, but I'm definitely situated in what I'm doing now. So there we are. And I'm happy with it, But if I could go back in time and get a time machine, I would learn how to code so that I can code solid in a great way. Now, I understand a little bit about code, and it's enough to get by. So it was good to take that class. I also took a C++ class, and that helps. But if I could snap my fingers, I would know how to code expertly today. So I really applaud people who learn to code from a young age.
My experience is like this big bowl of Skittles, M&Ms, and jelly beans. I have music, art, video game design, retail, management, accounting, recruiting, so forth. it was this really long discovery process before I figured out what I actually wanted to do. So I picked out what I liked and what I didn't like from each of my experiences, figured out what I was actually good at versus what I wanted to be good at. And in the end, I figured out I wanted to be an ambassador for information. Humans are creatures of knowledge, and I know I want to be part of that flow of information somehow. How we absorb information now with our current technology is drastically different than how we use information 10 years ago. And it will continue to evolve at exponentially faster paces. So I am working as a technical communicator to be information architect soon, and I will keep evolving. And I'm really excited to be part of this driving force in this movement.
When I first enrolled in graduate school, I remember having 2 classes my first semester. One was in Java and one was in project management. I really enjoyed Java, but I soon realized that as much as I love technology, and coding was just not for me. I understood it and I was able to write it, but it just wasn't for me. I didn't find joy in it. However, when I went into my project management class, I figured out that I really enjoyed that, and joining business and IT together was something that interested me. So I heard my professor once mention business analyst, and at that point I had no idea what it was, and no idea how I can get into that field. So I did some research, I Googled, I found one business systems analyst position near me, and I applied out of luck, and I have no idea. Just out of luck, they decided to hire me, and ever since then, I have been a business systems analyst. I started out as an entry level. They liked what I did, they liked my work, and I soon became a senior business systems analyst within a year of working there. Then I realized that I wanted to do more. I wanted to help more people with their businesses and their software. So I became a consultant for my current company, and I absolutely love it. I don't think I want to change my path. I love being the bridge between business and technology, and being able to figure out different businesses' weak areas and trying to improve it with automation definitely is something that gets me up every day and gets me excited to come to work.
Well, the most challenging thing was to actually believe that a linguist like myself could become a programmer, because I was really convinced that I didn't have the right knowledge. I didn't have a chance to study mathematics and programming at university, and that's why I just physically cannot become a software engineer. But of course, it was my own stereotype, and for me, like, the biggest challenge was to break this stereotype. And I'm really happy to be working in my company where I'm working right now, because I don't feel like there's any difference, like our company doesn't make any difference between men and women. Being a software engineer, we are being paid equally for a job that we are doing, and I don't feel any pressure to work less or to work more. I feel like I'm treated equally as my coworkers are, and I really enjoy it. You know, I don't feel like I'm losing something, or I'm not able to gain something just because I'm a woman. You know, it's not like that. Well, I know that there are companies that might be a little bit harsh on women, but Ours is not like that, and I'm really happy about it.
Well, I have had a little bit of trouble finding full-time work over the last couple of years, so I started my own company and I'm finding that I'm making a lot more progress. I do think that a lot of companies want you to work for free. There's a lot of startup companies in Silicon Valley that are kind of looking for young people to work for them for free. So you'll be at an interview thinking that you've got a job, or that you're getting a job, and it turns out that they don't have any intention of paying you, but they do want you to work for their company. So I'm not that young, but I look young, and so I find myself in those scenarios a lot. I do find a gender disparity between managers that will offer me more options and higher compensation, and managers that are just trying to get away with paying you the lowest they possibly can. And so women are much more likely to believe in what I do, which is UX design, and also to accommodate the compensation that I'm asking for.
So from my personal experience, so I have been in IT for 6 years, and I work as an analyst in a different setting for I think 5 or 6 as well. So I will tell you that for me, I have never experienced anything that would make me feel that somebody is acting differently towards me because I'm a woman. Not in salary, not in the way I was treated, not in the way that different opportunities were presented to me. I always thought it was being fair. Maybe I was just fortunate enough to work with managers, both men and women, who were always encouraging, who were always looking out for me, really caring about my career, my professional development, that, I have not experienced any of that. Maybe we are changing. I know that, when the previous generation was working, that was definitely the case a lot of times. For me, right now, I really don't notice that.
I think most of us face the same kind of problems. A lot of behaviors that men are rewarded for are the same behaviors that women are punished for. Females are judged largely based on what they have accomplished in the past, whereas males are assessed largely based on what they will accomplish in the future. For example, in the Harvard Business Review and Academy of Management, it says 67% of the questions posed to male entrepreneurs were promotion-oriented, which means they focus on hopes, achievements, advancements, ideals. Whereas 66% of the questions posed to female entrepreneurs were prevention-oriented, which is concerned with safety, responsibility, security, and vigilance. And like many other women, I would often have to weigh the pros and cons of speaking up for equality versus a stable income. The most challenging part of my professional growth so far has been to learn and acknowledge when I have fallen into these situations and pack up and move on.
There is so much data out there today about the bias against women in tech, and I think that it's clearly a problem. I was even told by a previous manager after he hired me that he doesn't want to hire any more women. And I can't believe he thought it was acceptable to say that. So we have an issue, and I think that ignoring the issue just makes it worse. I'm a problem solver, so I don't ignore problems or steer clear of them. I try to fix them. And it's been really fulfilling for me to inspire other women, to mentor other women, and to let them know that networking is important in the tech industry, and other people use it, to their power. And I think women should do the same thing. And one way we do that is by supporting each other within the tech industry. That's another way of networking as well. So I think that it's important that more women are welcome in tech. And if there are women currently available to help mentor, coach, make them feel comfortable and safe, and boost them up, help them find opportunities. I think that it's key, it's crucial, and it's the thing that works, So we're using the same tools that other people in the tech industry have always used. So networking is powerful, and I'm proud that I have helped to, change the world at the same time that I'm also working on my own personal success. I think that helping others is crucial along my personal path. So that's why I'm proud to be a woman in tech. And I feel like I need to get myself a badge now, or at least a hoodie or something.
If there are no voices, nothing will be heard. The world is what it is today through movements like our own, and none of this is achieved through silence. However, as part of the LGBTQ community and as a woman of color, my eyes are open to many other forms of oppression, and therefore, I would like to say there needs to be a voice not just for women, but for all walks of life.
We should not be leaving this woman in tech thing out. We still do not have that many women in technology. Look around. Do you see that many women? Do you have that many women coworkers in your IT department? Not as much as men. And we're still not getting equal pay. Still not. And it's 2020. So I do think that we still need to keep the women in tech thing in our everyday life. We still need to talk about it. We need to support each other. We need to talk about it, and we need to spread the word that, yeah, women in tech is, increasing, but it's still very low numbers. And how are we going to teach, the future women that there's opportunities out there for them in tech if we don't say it, if we don't bring it up? So yes, I definitely believe that we do need to keep women in tech thing in our professional lives. We need to celebrate it and support each other.
I don't think that we should leave this women in tech movement out of the industry, because the fact that I am able to work on equal terms with men co-workers might be the result of such actions. I think it's really important to spread the information, to spread the word that there is equality. It can be gained, and companies like ours can be a good example of it. And I don't think that we should stop this movement, because, well, originally there was no inequality. Well, when the programming just started, the history, there were just as fine female engineers as male engineers, and no one was treated by gender. They were treated by their knowledge, and sadly it changed over the years. But now is the chance to get it back, to get back this equality and never question it again. So yeah, I am working in a gender equality friendly environment, if you can call it so, but I think it's the result of such movements, and I don't think that we should stop those movements from spreading around the world.
So in answer to the question, should we leave the women in tech thing out of our professional life? No, we shouldn't. Yes, okay, we put emphasis on our gender by mentioning it, but I think it's important to stimulate the women in tech movement in the IT community. I think it's absolutely fundamental, because unless we do something, even though those changes might seem really slow and really hard, and that it's only moving very slowly, I think it's super important, because it means so much of our life right now is governed, is ruled, is underpinned by technology, and by not having diversity in the people who are working and developing and selling and designing that technology, then we're going to end up with a society that is not designed for everyone. So I don't think we should keep it out. I think we should keep on doing it, and I think the more that we work together, it's not just a women's thing, it's a society thing, then the better it is for society as a whole at the end of the day. So no, not from me.
So yes, that is a hard question for sure. I feel like I have very mixed emotions about that. So I think in the past, like when I was growing up, I never thought or dreamt about being an analyst or working a corporate job or having a career in IT or healthcare or anything like that. That was simply because I was not exposed to other women who were working in those professional fields. That was also before the internet, where I could actually go and see what is happening in the world. What are other women doing? So at that point, it would make sense to have kind of a program or a movement like that would draw attention to the fact that yes, even if you are a girl, you can work in tech, you can work in whatever profession that is. But I think oftentimes we make a mistake of keep on going with that trend when we don't really need to do it anymore. So what I mean by that is, I think, it's more and more common for women to have careers in whatever they want to have a career in. They will all, I think in all the cases, they're gonna find somebody else who was a woman and who is successful in the career that they have chosen, that is the same as the career you might want to have. So to me, sometimes we push those terms and they might have a completely opposite effect that we intend them to be. I am all for encouraging both boys and girls to choose whatever career they want, whether they are more female-centered or male-centered right now, it doesn't matter. Like, nursing. That used to be a job occupation for women. There were no male nurses, back in the day, if you will. But also at the same time, I don't remember any movements promoting, hey, men in nursing. I mean, maybe there was, I was just not exposed to it. But we tend to do that for women. And I think it starts with the right intentions, but I think at this point, we need to stop and kind of move away from that. Because sometimes, like I said, you might have a different consequences from what you intend. And what I mean by that is, if we keep on putting in our head, women don't get paid as well in tech. Women are not as skilled as tech, so we have to stick together. So we have to constantly remind ourselves that we are worth it, that we are this and that. And I mean, those are all good points because we are worth it and we should be treated the same. But sometimes we kind of that thought gets stuck in our head and we come into a given situation with the perception and expectations that we're gonna be treated differently because we are women, because we're women in tech. And that might cause problems for us. So I think that might be something that we really need to think about. What is our intention to keep saying, women in tech or women this or women that? Because sometimes we might just be ourselves drawing attention to the fact that we are women, so we are different and we need to be treated differently when all we're trying to do is be treated the same. You know what I mean? So it's a very, convoluted topic, if you will. So I don't know what I said just makes sense to you, but those are just my feeling about it. I think we should start stepping away from that.
I also have a community for women in tech in my country, and I help them to understand how tech industry is working. So I don't think we should leave this whole idea of women in tech just because it's too gender-centric and so on. Actually, it is also a problem for countries which are developing right now because women, they don't think of tech industry as an industry for their career, and we help to overcome these thoughts that tech industry is too difficult, too hard for them to apply their skills. So definitely it makes sense when women help to inspire other women to go deeper into the tech industry, to help them to understand how it works, what they could do in this industry, because sometimes girls, they don't understand which profession they can have while working in tech, what should they do, what skills should they have. So making these things obvious is a great help for them. So I guess the idea should live longer.
There's one thing that I don't like in the industry right now. Is this huge lust for money, because a lot of people become programmers just to have big salaries and their only interest is gaining more and not developing the technology, not developing the tools they are working with. And that's a huge problem because it can actually slow down the progress we've made so far. And I know that there's an explanation to this because of the current stage of the economy, because of the wealth gap, because of the politics. I'm not going to talk about this, but well, you are aware of these facts as well as I am, and that's the problem. And it cannot be solved so easily. You cannot just go to the world and say that, hey, you shouldn't work as a software engineer just because of the money. It just won't work. You have to do something different. And sadly, I don't have the answer to this problem right now, but I'm really concerned, and I would love to cooperate with people that are concerned as well and do something about it.
There are many things I would like to change in the industry, and it all comes down to the word equality. This is an extremely long and difficult battle because the human race is built on identifying and acting on differences.
So now that you got me on the topic, if I could change anything, I would like to be valued equally to other people, namely men. Also, I'd like to be valued equally to the tech transplants that have come to the Bay Area. As a native, I am honestly not as juicy as someone else from Europe, probably, or someone else from the East Coast, I guess. Being from the Bay Area means that you're not as hireable or not as interesting as those who are transplants now. So it's not as cool as it sounds to be from the Bay Area, I guess. I would love for creative people to also understand the business side of things. I know for me that was a long road. I understood more about production than I did about business for a long time. And I think that if more creative people understood business, then you'd have more interesting startups popping up with great products. And you'd also have indie games in large supply. There's a lot of great ideas out there, but not enough business power, money power to make it happen. And the money also brings in more creativity because people need to eat. So creative people need to be paid. So I guess that's what I would change if I were speaking honestly.
You know what? I don't think I would have really changed anything. For me, the biggest kind of learning curve was figuring out what opportunities are there. But that really stemmed from the fact that one, it was, when I started going to school, it was still before internet was a common thing. And even when it came out, I wasn't really sure how to use it. I did not, my parents were also new to this country, so they really couldn't guide me as far as, what field of study I should take, what job opportunities I should take. So I had to figure that out on my own. However, even though it was hard and it was a huge learning experience, I think that all the jobs that I had, the whole career path was exactly how I should have been. There were so many opportunities that came along that I took full advantage of, that I have no regrets as far as my career is concerned. So no, I don't think I would have changed anything. I wish I knew some things before, because you always do that. But in the end, I think it worked out exactly how it was supposed to work out.
Yes, lots. I think there's an awful lot that we could still do in order to improve the way that women are viewed in the industry. Very often people talk about women lacking confidence, and I disagree. I don't think women start off by lacking confidence. However, our society and the workplace tends to value we've grown up with a male version of the workplace. Therefore, we've grown up with the male version of how confidence behaves, communicates. And because we are not men, and because we tend to behave and act and communicate in different ways, therefore it tends to be that we're perceived as lacking in confidence because we're not doing it the male way. It's a different style. So I'm not saying that one way is right and one way is wrong. It's just that they're different, and we have to accept and acknowledge and celebrate those differences. But that also means that we have to make small changes in order to accommodate, reflect and celebrate the female tendencies, the female style, the female way that we tend to communicate and behave, so that we're all accepted as equal, because we are equal, we're equally different, we're all equal, we're all different. And I think it's really important for society and for our future generations that we are all perceived as, as for who we are. Now, I'm not saying let's change women, let's make women do things differently, let's make women communicate differently. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is we need to be more aware of the different styles and the different tendencies. And the more women we have, the more role models we have, the higher up those role models are, then the better it is for the future of society, and for the future of technology, and the future of the industry.
My goals for next 5 years are to become a real professional in marketing sphere, to understand the instruments that could help marketers, to understand the flows, the platforms a marketer could use for a startup, to understand how we can do the advertising that is not interrupting people's life, and they're not arguing with the advertisement, which is everywhere actually, and to make an advertisement like a part of modern art that reflects social, cultural development in our century.
A height for me and Storytime UX would be to hire employees in 2020. I can't wait to work with new people, new fresh faces in UX, and help them in their UX practice, in research and design. So that will definitely be something I'm looking forward to this year. And a higher height would be to be recognized as having one of the best work cultures that really focuses on employee growth. This would help us to stand out. And, I'd love to be able to say that we're changing things here in Silicon Valley.
Well, my goals for the next 5 years are getting better at what I'm doing right now, because I started like 2 years ago, and I still consider myself a newbie in a programming, and I really want to dig deeper into architecture, into patterns, and to get not just to be good at writing code, but be good at writing good code that is maintainable and sustainable. That's my biggest goal for the next 5 years, I think. And apart from that, I would really love to study other languages, because I'm currently working with JavaScript, and it has its own benefits, it has its own problems, and I would love to take a look at other languages, for example, C# or something like that, just to have a different view on how the programming is developing on the other side, not front-end side, but back-end side as well.
My professional goals for the next 5 years, I want to stay true to myself and keep learning. As a leader in the industry, I currently have a voice, and I know I have to use it well for the community. I know I can do a lot more, and I'm steadily working there. But make no mistake, I didn't get here on my own. All the hardships and the support I received got me to where I am today, and will continue to get me further. And I think it's very important for each one of us to acknowledge that, so that we can all keep turning around and thanking those who had helped us get this far and get to where we are. This is how we build a stronger community. This is how we move forward. And I will keep moving forward. 5 years, 10 years, 30 years past retirement, whatever it might be, because there's so much more to learn.
So I feel like I have professional goals in kind of two different settings. One in my day job, where I work in the corporate world, and one for my side business that is not related to IT at all. But I think the goals are very similar in a sense. So what I mean by that, in my career, what I really want to do is work more on high-level projects that really help project managers and IT professionals figure out different ways to spend less time on administrative stuff, on things that they don't really care about, so they can concentrate more on that technical stuff, the things that they love to do. So I'm getting more involved in those kinds of things, where either I am working on improving the process or streamlining things, so make things easier for them on that administrative part of things, so they can really use their talents and creativity to do whatever they were hired to do. And at my side business, it's kind of similar, because my side business is all about helping other working moms with time management and house management, with the same purpose that if we kind of cut off all those unnecessary things and streamline things, then we can concentrate on doing things that we love to do, whether that is spending time with our family, whether that is doing a hobby or a side business, whatever it is. So over the next 5 years, I'm hoping to really build my business to something that is successful in helping other moms doing just that, and then doing the same kind of thing at work, but for the different group of people.
I don't have any particular goals, actually. I've got a contract that I'm just about to start with a charity, very much learning and development as opposed to the wider business change aspects. I'd love for my next contract to be more in the change management side of things and helping businesses adapt and adopt technology. But actually, for me, the more important thing of what I'm doing is helping other women in technology to step up and step forward and increase their confidence and get them networking more confidently and get them thinking about how they behave and how they communicate and how that might be perceived, and kind of amplifying what other women are doing. There are so many incredible women in technology that I admire and I respect, and I'd love to be able to showcase more of those women in the work that I do and in the conversations that I have. So no particular professional goals. I'm always open to learning new technology, of course, because I think that's one of the reasons why we all get into tech in the first place, isn't it? But yeah, that's about it for me.
I really love my job. I love what I'm doing, and I'm really, I consider myself lucky to have gotten this chance to transfer into programming entirely, and I'm happy at the place I am right now. Yeah.
I see myself as an ambassador for information, and I absolutely love it and all the problem solving that I do that comes with it. Even these hurdles for women, for people of color, for the LGBTQ community, these challenges gives me a purpose because I live to find solutions for everything I come across. My tagline is enable information. Learn more, always.
I very much love what I'm doing with Storytime UX. I'm glad I made the decision to go independent and start something new. And I have the ability to find projects that I'm genuinely excited about. So I like to work on a project that I love and that I want to see succeed. And I also have the ability to create the kinds of working relationships that I would really like to see. So it's been a great year for us so far.
Yes. I definitely love my job. I love what I do. I love the fact that it's not repetitive, that I get to work on different kinds of projects, that it's not the same, thing over and over again, that I get to meet a lot of different IT professionals and project managers, or just all different kinds of people, and help them out, make their jobs easier, point out different trends. So, I am an analyst at heart, so being an analyst at work, I couldn't have landed in a better position than this.
Yes, I love my job. I really enjoy what I'm doing. I really loved the business change role that I was doing for the last 2 years for a charity that is very close to my heart, and the only reason I stopped doing that job is because I was elected president and trustee of the charity, and so it would have been a conflict of interest to continue as a staff person. And the new charity that I'm going to be working for, doing the learning and development work for them, is another charity very close to my heart, and I'm really excited about working with them because the people are just so lovely and what they do is a really worthy cause. So yeah, I love my work. I love the fact that I've had this portfolio career since about 2010, where I've worked part-time on one thing and then part-time on something else. I've been able to balance my love of technology, my love of helping people get the most out of technology, with some other passion projects. So I'm really looking forward to the next few years and seeing how things pan out.
Actually, I adore being a marketer because I see people, they become more interested in advertisement as an art, as social cultural thing. They start to understand why marketers do this kind of advertisement, for whom and for what. So it's like a new thing to discuss between people. Friends can make conversations on what's going on in advertisement sphere, and there are lots of things that inspire people, and also partnership and collaborations, and all these influencer things that help people to to integrate globally into the community and to have this understanding of freedom of communication that could be within all the countries, and globally, interaction that people could do between regions and nations. So I guess that other things could lead to more safe, for safer world, and better understanding of other nationalities and other people.
Hope you liked this episode. If you did, please let me know in the comments, and starting this episode we will be launching a series of women tech interviews that I will be releasing during Sundays, the next Sundays, so that not to disturb our regular schedule, and that is a regular video on Wednesday. If you're interested, please let me know in the comments. I would appreciate your support so much. Stay tuned, keep going, and go and shove them all, Top Gun. Bye!